PDX Guitar Freak, and in this video I'm going to show you how to play the guitar solo from Van Halen's Jump. Now before we get started, I want to call out that for this lesson you don't need to tune your guitar down 1/2 step, unlike most Van Halen songs. Keep it in standard tuning. In addition, I also have another lesson that I did a couple years back that I'll put a link to down below, where I show you how to play all the keyboard parts from Jump on the guitar. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check that out. Alright, let's go ahead and jump on into it. First section. And then slowly. What's worth calling out there? Well, first note you're going to rake up into. Same with the second note before you do the bend up. And then for those two notes on the 6th fret of the E followed by the B string, I just bar my finger across both strings. Okay, pretty simple. And then the last thing I think that's worth calling out is that last vibrato at the 6th fret of the G string, where I had the pinch vibrato. That's a wide vibrato. That's wide.
It's basically the equivalent of 2 frets.
Okay, and I know that might be uncomfortable for some people to do that sort of a wide vibrato. It's really almost like bending. But get used to it. Eddie Van Halen does it a lot if you plan on learning a lot of his guitar solos. Alternatively, you could slide down and use that finger, but I wouldn't do that. I'd learn it the right way. It'll pay off in the long run. The next part. Slowly. I think what's worth calling out here is that when you're doing those bends at the 6th fret of the G string, you want to make sure that you practice where you're doing the pinch harmonics, because obviously where you're doing them has an impact. Where you pick and do the pinch has an impact on how it's going to sound, right? So the first two notes are kind of higher up, and then the second two notes you're going to move toward the bridge a little bit. Okay, that makes sense. The next part. Slowly. Now this section is a great example of what Eddie used to call falling down the stairs, right? You know where you're starting, you know where you're stopping, and in between you're just kind of rolling. And so, you know, when you see him do this live, he's going to do it differently, right? That's just Eddie, right? He was always improvising on stage and in the studio. He still does, sorry, I know he's still alive. And so I think what you need to be cognizant of here, again, is when you're skipping strings, or when you're switching from one string to another. So for example, watch what happens when I move from the high E string to the B string. I'm going to tap on to the 9th fret of the B string with my pinky finger on my left hand to start that string, okay? Watch. See how I just tapped onto it to start the B string section? You're going to do the same thing when you move from the B to the G. You're going to tap with your left pinky, okay? Here it is slowly. Okay, right, again, here's the whole thing slowly. Alright, then again you've got another full step bend with your index finger in the left hand. Next part, a little quick part. I could have added this to the last section, but I didn't want it to be there to be too much tabs on the screen, so it goes like this. Pretty straightforward, right? The next part. I guess you could look at it as a sort of like sweep picking. You hammer on the second note. slide up at the end. And then the last section, a very typical Eddie type of move. This is just a descending pattern that moves up the fretboard. Okay, index, middle, pinky. You know, starting on the low E string like this. I'm sorry, starting on the A string. Okay, that was my quick lesson on how to play the guitar solo from Van Halen's Jump. I hope you found it helpful, I hope you found it informative. If you have questions, let me know and I'll answer them as time allows. And don't forget, if you're interested in learning the keyboard solo and all the keyboard parts from Jump on the guitar, I'll put a link down to that video below. Alright, until next time, rock on.